125,000 eager fans. A front row lockout for Ferrari, but their arch rivals Toyota were soon on the attack. In the midfield in hypercar though, trouble for the Action Express Cadillac. On the very first lap, a safety car would be scrambled after a heavy crash. Driver Jack Aitken dragging the wreckage back to the pits after losing control on the damp track. Back to green flag racing and Toyota taking the upper hand. The Japanese team have 5 consecutive wins here at Le Mans, and rain was always likely to play into their experienced hands. Sebastian Bourdais in the number 3 Cadillac, one of a number of cars caught out by a heavy downpour in the first couple of hours. More safety car running, and the track just too wet for real speed as all the new hypercars from Ferrari, from Cadillac, from Peugeot and from Porsche battled for supremacy.
Before the line.
As the safety car pulled in once more, Peugeot was left with a 1-2 order. Their return to Le Mans, a scene where they have won in 2 previous eras. The French cars had real pace. Despite the odd look with no rear wing, their ground effect was working well on the track as Porsche's privateer and factory teams battled. And then disaster. Yiffy Yi in the Hertz Team Jota car, building up a 10-second advantage, crashed heavily, ironically, in the Porsche curves. He was only a kilometre or 2 from the pit lane and managed to drag the wreckage back, but the run of the first Porsche in private hands had taken a backward pace. Into the night time, Alessandro Pierguidi taking over the lead Ferrari from teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, battling with Toyota number 7, using all their experience to match their new rivals. There was drama for the 75 car from Porsche Penske Motorsport. Mathieu Jaminet stopping at the trackside and having to do a full reset to get the car to move once more. Roger Penske not thrilled. As the race progressed into darkness, there were more celebrations for the centenary. Concerts, lights, fireworks and drama for the 51 Ferrari. Alessandro Pierguidi lost time after dropping the car off the road into the first chicane gravel trap. Fortunately for him, there was no damage, but it would take time for the car to be craned back out onto terra firma. Had they just blown their best chance of victory? It certainly didn't look good for the Italian team. There was more Italian drama as JMW's veteran Ferrari, the chassis in its 7th consecutive Le Mans 24 hours, was out in a 4-car pileup entering a slow zone, ironically to bring the speed of the cars down to protect another accident. The JMW car launched over the back of the number 7 Toyota, and that car suffering major rear damage. 2 rear punctures and a broken drive shaft meant that team boss Kamui Kobayashi, driving the car at the time, would go little further. The car was out with a hybrid failure and lack of drive. Peugeot had looked strong throughout free practice and they had good race pace here at their home event. But what they didn't have is the luck you need to win Le Mans. Gustavo Menezes in the 94 car out, another victim of the first chicane. A heavy impact, a slow crawl back to the pits, and a long night and long day to follow to try and persuade the car to make it to the finish. In these conditions, the tiniest of errors can be brutally punished. Into Sunday, and it had boiled down to what was probably likely to be a 2-horse race. The number 8 Toyota and the number 51 Ferrari that had been in the gravel traps earlier on. The leaders were on the same strategy, a change of nose for Toyota to try and address a front-end balance problem. The Ferrari was in the pits as well and left ahead. Swift pit work is all part of winning Le Mans. It's not all about hypercar. It's the new class, it's the top category battling for overall victory, but there are two other categories, prototypes in the LMP2 class and road-going supercars in the GTE AM class. A Pro-Am competition that battles the likes of Porsche, Ferrari and Aston Martin head-to-head. Pink Iron Dames Porsche and Project One's Rexy with a T-Rex livery inspired by driver PJ Hyatt's kids battling for a podium spot as keenly fought as the race at the front of the field. Jim Glickenhaus's team had pace but not much luck either. This, the 708 car, one of many to fall victim at Indianapolis, running out the curbs and onto the gravel trap, being spat across the road and into the barriers. More long work from the team to continue in the race would ensue. But by the checkered flag, both Glickenhaus's cars made it to the finish. Lunchtime, and the 51 Ferrari was still battling for supremacy with the number 8 Toyota. Alessandro Pierguidi once more taking the car on board, but it refused to start. A panicked few moments as he worked through a complete electronic reset. The Toyota moved by in the pit lane, and finally, to the relief of the team, the Ferrari would start. Toyota once more had the lead, but Giovanardi was on the attack, and within a couple of laps he was making a bold pass around the outside to retake the advantage. There was little to choose in terms of passion or speed between these two rivals. Hollywood star Michael Fassbender's race ended, like so many before him, hard in the wall at the Porsche curves. The Irish-German film star had been trying to avoid running wide and exceeding track limits, but lifting off while turning hard merely spat him across the road, into the wall and into retirement. The car made it back to the pits, but would go no further. And would that be the deal for the number 8 Toyota? High drama as the car battling for supremacy in the hands of Ryo Hirakawa spun at Arnage. Was there a major problem? The Ferrari team held their breath. The car was back underway, but not before the replay showed it was driver error. Hirakawa had lost the loose rear end of the car and clattered the barriers. Reaction down the pit lane was intense. Ferrari Formula One star Charles Leclerc on hand. Would he see his teammates win the race after all? The number 8 car made a quick pit stop, a new nose and tail section bolted on, and he was back on his way. But the leader now had a 3-minute advantage on a lap that takes a little over 3.5 minutes. The Toyota's chance of victory now rested firmly in the hands of Lady Luck and not the team themselves. As the clock wound down towards 4 in the afternoon, the traditional finishing time, there was nothing those in the garages could do but wait. And finally it came. 50 years after their last start as a factory team in the centenary race, 9 times winner Tom Christensen waved the checkered flag for the 51 Ferrari. Ferrari winners at Le Mans for the first time in more than half a century. Their jubilation untold. Tiny Polish team Inter Europol claimed a surprise victory in LMP2, while the 33 Corvette of American Ben Keating claimed the 11th victory at La Sarthe for the American manufacturer.